Hello, my name is John Lewis, and you are listening to episode 7 of the Autism Athletic Podcast. Today's episode is going to be about 2025 NBA playoffs, which starts this Saturday, by the way. So today we're going to break down all the round one matchups and just who I think some contenders are and who I think some pretenders are and some other potential matchups. All right. So first we will start with the Eastern Conference. So obviously we haven't gotten through all the play-in games yet. We don't know who's going to be the 8th seed, but assuming the Hawks or the Heat end up being the 8th seed, it doesn't matter. Either one of them are going to play against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are the 1 seed, who won 60 plus games and had one of the best seasons in franchise history. Offensively, they are elite. I wouldn't say they have one like truly elite player, even though Donovan Mitchell is very good, but offensively they're very elite. They've got like 6 or 7 players, I want to say 6, that score in double figures, and they averaged over 120 a game. And they have, I want to say, 3 players that averaged 18 plus a game, and they can flat out score the basketball. And defensively, they're not bad either. Evan Mobley could end up winning Defensive Player of the Year with the injury to Victor Wembanyama. He's definitely in the running. And so overall, I expect them to probably sweep whoever they play in the first round. Now, given their past playoff experience, wouldn't surprise me if you went to 5 or 6, but based on how they've done this year and how the 8th seed's looking, I definitely think they should sweep in the first round. Then for the 2-7 matchup, you've got the Boston Celtics and the Orlando Magic. The Boston Celtics, when healthy, are one of the best teams in the league and have one of the best starting lineups in the league. They're well coached by Joe Mazzulla, and they have maybe the 6th man of the year in Peyton Pritchard, who's averaging about 13, 14 a game off the bench. And they haven't even been fully healthy this year. Drew Holiday's missed some time, and Porzingis has definitely missed some time. So when they're healthy, they still, in my opinion, have one of the best starting lineups in the entire league. I don't see why they don't sweep the Orlando Magic, and they haven't played in the playoffs against each other in a while. I think since 2010, maybe in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I just don't think the Magic have enough offensively. Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are very good offensively, but outside of that, they just don't have a whole lot offensively. Boston's good on both sides of the ball, and I just don't really think, especially with Boston being at home, that they can keep up. I don't even think they'll get a game. Then for the 3-6 matchup, we've got the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons are coming off one of their best seasons they've had in a long time. Were easily the biggest surprise in the league. Their coach should probably be coach of the year, right there with Kenny Atkinson from the Cavs. And Cade Cunningham has played at an all-NBA level. Whether he makes it or not, I definitely think he should. But I just think the Knicks, being coached by Tom Thibodeau, and their starting lineup is just way too good. Yeah, they could use more bench play, and you could argue that Tom Thibodeau might play starters a little much, but their starting lineup with Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OJ Anunoby, that's a really, really good starting lineup, and they're particularly good on offense, but they're good on defense too. And Karl-Anthony Towns is coming off one of his best years ever. He's already been one of the best three-point shooting big men of all time throughout his career. But this year, he averaged a career high about 13 rebounds a game and upped his points to 24 a game. And he's back at his primary position of center. I do think the Pistons, just because of how good Cade Cunningham is, I just don't know that the Knicks are good enough to sweep anybody. I do think they can get a game, maybe 2, but I probably predict 4-1 just because they're so young. It's Cade Cunningham and who? Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris. Like, they've got some veteran pieces around. Like, they're not as young as you would think. But I just don't think they have enough around Cade Cunningham to really push them, even to like a 7-game series. I predict they'll lose 4-1. 4-2 wouldn't surprise me, but I'm going to stick with 4-1. And then for the 4-5 matchup, you've got, at the 4 seed, you've got the Indiana Pacers, and at the 5 seed, you've got the Bucks. I don't care that the Indiana Pacers are at home. And yes, top to bottom, they're probably a better team. They probably have a little bit deeper bench, and I think Miles Turner's better at center than Brook Lopez, and I don't love shooting guard for the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't like whether it be Tyron Prince or Gary Trent Jr. or whoever they put at shooting guard. I don't love them there. And outside of Bobby Portis Jr., I don't love their bench. But the combination of Damian Lillard and Giannis is just too much. Damian Lillard played at an all-star level, averaging about 24, 25 a game, and is one of the better number 2 scoring options in the league. And Giannis, it's going to be all NBA and maybe all defense. He's going to be first team all NBA, and he's averaging like 30 and like 10, 11 rebounds a game and like 5, 6 assists a game. That combination is just way too much. Originally, Damian Lillard was supposed to be out, but we have breaking news in the NBA. He will actually be back for the playoffs. He's still ruled out for game 1, but he should be able to return. Whether he returns to game 2 or not is yet to be seen, but assuming he returns for most of the series, I am picking the Milwaukee Bucks, and for that reason alone. I was hesitant to pick them without Damian Lillard, but with him, that gives them another primary scoring option, a playmaker. It just helps them out on so many levels. I do think it'll go 7 games, just because I think the Pacers are a more balanced team and are a little better at the center position and maybe shooting guard. But like I said, the combination of Giannis and Lillard is just too much. I expect them to win in 7, maybe 6. Wouldn't surprise me. Do I think Milwaukee or the Indiana Pacers can go all the way? No, but somebody has to win that series. And then we're gonna jump to the Western Conference. In the Western Conference, we have in the first round we have the Oklahoma City Thunder, who will face either the Mavericks or the Grizzlies. I wouldn't be surprised if either team makes it as the 8th spot. The Grizzlies have been better this year. They're certainly better record-wise, and offensively they've been very good, the Grizzlies. Defensively, they don't have much, though, the Grizzlies, outside of Jaren Jackson Jr. They've actually struggled a bit defensively, and if Anthony Davis can stay healthy, I would not be surprised if the Mavs won. However, Kyrie is out, so who else is going to step up for the Mavericks? Is it going to be Klay Thompson? He can have big games on any given night, but he can also be ice cold, especially this year. PJ Washington, I don't know. And are Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford going to stay healthy? We'll have to see. If they are fully healthy, though, I would not be surprised either way. But either way, I do not think either team stands a chance against Oklahoma City Thunder. Some people are saying this Oklahoma City Thunder team might be the greatest team of all time. I think that's a little ridiculous. There's at least 2 teams off the top of my head that had better records than them. At least. It might even be more. And I just think it's just a little too premature and prisoner of the moment to say they're the greatest team of all time. They are elite defensively and offensively. Shai Alexander is an MVP candidate, averaging over 30 a game with like 5-6 rebounds and like 6 assists while shooting like 50% as a guard. And he gets to the foul line as well as anybody, as much as anybody. But don't let that be a criticism of him, because in order to lead the league in scoring, you're going to have to get to the free throw line. That's just the nature of the game. Some people don't like that, but he's still really, really skilled. He may not be an elite 3-point shooter, but he'll make about 2 a game. So he's better than you think from there. And his mid-range is good. But he can drive. He's got good size at 6'5", 6'6", and he's underrated defensively. And when Chet's healthy, this team is just plays at a different level. Would I be shocked if the 8C got a game just to how they are? No, but it's hard to imagine a team this good is not going to sweep in the first round. I think 4-0. Then you've got the Houston Rockets as the 2C playing against the 7th, the Golden State Warriors. Golden State was, I think, 7-3 in their last 10 games, which is pretty good. And they were really, really good down the stretch, not just their last 10 games. And Steph, while he hasn't had his best year by any means, he's definitely played at an all-star level, borderline all-NBA, and he's had a couple of 50-point games this year, and he can still get super hot, about as hot as anybody as a scorer. And the Rockets are young, and they're not a great three-point shooting team. They rank in the 20s in both three-point percentage and three-pointers made, but three-pointers attempted too, so it's not like they're going to attempt a crazy amount. But and I don't love them at point guard with Fred VanVleet. I do like their depth, though. They've got Cam Whitmore, who you coming off the bench, Tyler Eason coming off the bench, and they've got a good bench, and Steven Adams too. So they've got a good bench, and Jabari Smith, you could put him on the bench too if you wanted. So they've got some depth at the forward position, and defensively they're good, and defensively they're good. But I just don't think they score enough offensively, especially at 3-point shooting. So while I do expect them to win this series, I would not be surprised if Golden State won at all. This is the one I think could be the biggest upset, especially based on seeding wise. And Golden State also has Jimmy Butler, they've been really, really good with Jimmy Butler. I think what would they finish, like 17-20 in the regular season down the stretch or something? They've been really, really good. Jimmy Butler is just a different animal come playoff time. But outside of those two, they just don't have a ton around them, and they're not an overly big team. Their biggest starter is about 6'9". So their size is going to be an issue, and finding that reliable third option is going to be an issue. I do still expect the Houston Rockets to win that series, but don't be surprised if Golden State wins, and especially don't be surprised if it goes 6 or 7 games. Then in the 3-6 matchup, you've got the Los Angeles Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I definitely expect the Los Angeles Lakers to win the series. You can say I'm biased, and that's true, but I didn't pick LA Lakers to go all the way. But the reason why I think they're going to win this series is because they've had some time to gel with Luka Doncic. They have one of the best backcourts in the league, Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves has been one of the best third options in the league. and LeBron James is still an All-NBA player too. And they've got an underrated bench with guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, Gabe Vincent, Dalton Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt. They may not have that one true elite six-man, but their second unit is very good. Not an elite bench, but a very solid bench. And of course, their big three of Anthony Richardson, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic, especially LeBron James and Luka Doncic, it's just going to be too much to stop. The Timberwolves do have a solid defense, and they've got Anthony Edwards, who's very, very good. But their number two best player is Julius Randle, and he's been extremely inconsistent this year, and he's been inconsistent throughout his career come playoff time. And I just don't think they have enough offensively to get it done. So while you may say I'm biased, and I probably am a little bit, I expect the Lakers to win that series. Would I be shocked if it went 6 games? Probably not. But do I expect a sweep? No. I predict Lakers in 5. So overall, those are my first round predictions. Until we see how those play out, I'm not gonna make predictions for round 2 because we really don't know what those are gonna pan out like. As of now, we're just kind of guessing on what the matchups would be because we don't know who's gonna win. We know the 1 plays the 4 and stuff like that, but But they could also play the 5. So and just other examples like that. But here's some things. I think the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Cavs are clearly the 3 prohibited favorites. Like, I think nobody comes close to those 3. I would be shocked if they're not in at least their conference finals. And for the Thunder, I would be shocked if they don't win the West. There's some other sleepers like the Clippers who were 17-3 down the stretch and were really, really good. And James Harden played at an All-NBA level, and Kawhi, when healthy, is still one of the better two-way players. And Norman Powell was an All-Star. And they have a all-defensive and Ivica Zubac, who also was top 3 in the league in rebounding and averaged a career high like 16 points and shoots like over 60% from the field. While he may not have been an all-star, he still played at a really high level. And so I think they could be another contender. Don't sleep on them. But Kawhi, since coming to the Clippers, I'm not even sure he's made the conference finals. And James Harden's had some bad moments come playoff time. He hasn't been bad in every playoff game, but when he's been bad, he's been like historically bad in the playoffs. Like really, really bad. I'm pretty sure he had a game with 10 plus turnovers in the playoffs and other examples like that. But those 3 teams I said, the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Thunder, plus those other 2, the Lakers, who I am pretty high on, who I've already gone into detail about, and then the Clippers. I think those all could be contenders. Maybe the Warriors, if you wanted to pick a lower seed, but I just think them not having home court advantage and them finding a consistent third option might hurt them. But don't be surprised if the Warriors make it to the second round. And depending upon their matchup, I wouldn't even be surprised to make it to the conference finals. But I'm not giving them a chance to win the championship, the Warriors. As far as championship goes, I don't see it. But maybe conference finals. So this should be a really interesting playoffs. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. And my last thing I'm going to talk about is who would benefit the most from a championship as far as their legacy. Is it like a Giannis or a Jokic who could secure a second championship and they can now say they're multiple time champions? Same with like a Jaylen Brown or a Jason Tatum. Or would it be somebody like a Harden securing his first championship? Or a Lillard securing his first championship? Or a Luka securing his first championship, and so on. There is debate as to who would benefit the most. I would probably say Harden just because he could go down as one of the greatest shooting guards of all time. And that's why, and I feel like his legacy has been the best out of all those players I've named. Although Luka's legacy could end up being really good, but he's still really, really young. So I don't know that he necessarily has to win it right now in order for it to affect his legacy, but he definitely needs to win at least one by the time his career retires. And if he wins like 2 or 3, he could go down as one of the best point guards of all time. Honestly, I think he could be right there with Steph for the second greatest point guard of all time after Magic. But that's a whole other topic of conversation. So this should be a really fun playoffs. There's some really nice matchups in round 1, and I can't wait to see how the matchups shake up and how the playoffs shake up and who ends up surprising, who ends up being disappointing. And I can't wait to see what the round 2 matchups end up being like. And I may round 2 on another episode. But thanks for enjoying the podcast and listening. Feel free to like and subscribe wherever you get podcasts and follow for more. Thank you so much.